Am I the jerk for offering to pay my stepson to clean the house regularly, but he just moved in with us? I am a 36-year-old female and have 2 children, a 7-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son, with my husband who is a 40-year-old male. I am an attorney, and he is a stay-at-home dad. He has 2 other children, my stepsons, aged 16 and 20. The 16-year-old Blake did not have contact with us until 2 years ago. Since then, he has stayed with us for a couple of holidays and several weeks each summer. He has been here for a couple of weeks. At the end of last year, right before the end of school, he dropped out. 16 is the age our state requires for mandatory schooling. His mother does not care. He wants to move and stay with us. All parties are okay with this. He has had some trauma, and I do think this could be a good thing. We are leaving it open and up to him if he stays. He says he is going to study for his GED. He is our child and a minor. He is not going to be expected to pay rent or for food or anything. He will have an allowance. My husband is a stay-at-home dad, but he has a not-so-good back. All 3 children are autistic, and our youngest has higher support needs. I work not quite as ridiculous hours as some attorneys, but I am drained at the end of the day. This has led to our house occasionally being a wreck. We have hired people to do deep cleaning before, but have not found anyone that works consistently to do cleanings. We live in a kind of rural area, and there are no big cleaning agencies. It is all just individual people. I offered to pay him to clean the house regularly. I offered the going rate, which is $20 per hour, but also with the expectation that it would be reasonably cleaned in a reasonable time. I trust him, but he is a teenager. I am not out to take advantage of him. It is not required of him, but it gives him extra money. We agreed it is probably 4 to 5 hours a week of work. He seemed excited about it because he had a job during the school year in his hometown. I still feel like this is all reasonable, but I told some of my friends, and 2 of them said I was an asshole for asking him, even if I was offering to pay him, because I was treating him like labor. My husband also does not love it. I discussed it with him first, and he said it was up to Blake, but he thought it was weird. I really thought it would be a good way to help out our whole household with a cleaner house and give Blake the ability to earn reliable money when he wants to. However, now I am questioning whether I should have not suggested it and let him look for a job if he wanted. To be clear, if he wants to do that instead or in addition, he can. Or he can choose to not do either and just focus on his GED. It is going to be an adjustment for everyone, and I am worried I made a huge error. Am I the asshole? You are not responsible for this. This idea seems to suit everyone, so go for it. This arrangement will greatly help with the organization of the house and take the strain off your husband's back while allowing Blake to make some money and take responsibility. If it works for the family, don't take other people's opinions into account. Am I the jerk for missing my parents' funeral? My mom recently passed away while living with my younger sister. I was present during my mom's final moments and am grateful that my hero and angel is now at peace. My mom had stage 1 cancer last year. Her team of doctors believed it was curable. My sister, however, encouraged her to follow a holistic cancer therapy recommended by a chiropractor. He prescribed juice, daily coffee enemas, and periodic blood tests. I told my mom the therapy was considered ineffective. She replied that she would try it until she knew for sure. Last October and again in March, the chiropractor told my mom she was nearing remission because his blood test showed a miraculous reduction in cancer cells. My mom excitedly told many people about her results and gave his number to anyone who asked. In April, my mom had a stroke. My sister, who was her healthcare proxy, refused to bring her to the hospital. After finally admitting her to the hospital in May, the doctors recommended hospice because imaging tests revealed the cancer had spread throughout her entire body. My sister told me not to visit her home while my mom was in hospice there. We disagree on politics, philosophy, and most everything else. I defiantly made the trip and spent several days by my mom's bedside, telling her sweet things like how much I loved her. I tried very hard not to anger my sister, yet almost got kicked out when I told her my dogs had better end-of-life care. My sister prevented my mom from seeking proper care for over a year and further denied the comfort medications prescribed by hospice, despite her flailing in tears. Instead, she forced her to eat applesauce, thinking this would restore my mom's health, but it ultimately led to her last breath. My other siblings are in denial. They are anti-vaccine, pro-insurrectionists who blame the hospital for my mom's death. They all reminded me this was my mom's choice. My sister has planned a celebration of life in my mom's hometown, where I still live. I will not be attending because I will not endure the misinformation that will be shared at the event. Even though I was invited, I was warned not to share my story. I am choosing to celebrate my mom's life by reporting the chiropractor for practicing oncology without a license. I am choosing to spare my sister. I will not report her and her family for elder abuse because it would destroy what's left of my dear mom's family. I send them peace, love, and blessings from afar until I can actually begin to speak with them again. Your thoughts? You are not the one at fault. It's clear these people are full of brain rot, and it will not benefit anyone for you to suffer a service that will inevitably be full of lies. It's one thing to make woo-woo herbal suggestions, but it's another entirely to misinterpret blood tests and claim someone is getting better. Choose something to do for yourself that will make you feel close to your mom's spirit and allow you to begin healing. Am I the jerk for not attending my cousin's wedding? My brother, who is 32 years old, has been through a lot this past year. My family does not suffer from medical conditions, but we found out that he had an extremely rare disorder related to tumors of the heart. He was super healthy, so this came as a shock to everyone. After several surgeries and many months of treatment, my brother is completely healthy again. The doctors have given him an excellent prognosis to the point where his lifespan will not be affected at all. Our family has been through a lot. However, my brother is now marrying the love of his life, and he is so happy. Our extended family has been supportive of us all during our lives, and we always try to travel to celebrate significant milestone events. My brother rescheduled his wedding so that our extended family would be able to make it, which also cost him a decent amount of money. The majority of our family promised that they would make it, and that the new date worked better for them. Now, it's a few months out to my brother's wedding, and the majority of our family has suddenly canceled, saying that it is now inconvenient. They knew of this wedding almost a year in advance, yet now they are canceling even after my brother moved the date. Understandably, my brother is upset because almost none of his guests from our family are coming. Because I am so disgusted over what they have done, I have canceled my flight to my cousin's, who is 37 years old, wedding and have made my intentions clear that I am not RSVPing. I did not accept and then decline. I just declined. My brother was on his deathbed, and we had absolutely no idea if he would even survive. I feel this wedding isn't just a celebration of him and his new wife. It is a celebration that he is here with us, living his life just as he was before he spent weeks in the ICU. I feel like what I am doing is petty, and there is a part of me that feels like I am the asshole. But my brother has gone through so much, and I feel like if my extended family really cared, they would make the necessary reservations to go to his wedding, just like they do with the rest of the members of our family. Some friends think I am petty for canceling, but I feel I am doing this in support of my brother, who deserves love and respect for what he has gone through, and the life he will now live tumor-free. Am I the asshole? My cousin I refer to is not going to my brother's wedding. Your actions don't make you a jerk. Actions have consequences, and everyone declining to show up to a wedding that was rescheduled for them to be able to attend is disrespectful enough to warrant some cold shoulder treatment for a while. Hands down, that same choice makes total sense. If the wedding that was scheduled for their convenience isn't important to them, then neither is theirs. In the words of the amazing Charlotte Dobre, stay petty. Am I the jerk for not giving my roommate a ride until I find out who ate my leftovers? I, a 20-year-old female, have 3 roommates. We are either in our 20s or about to be in a few months. I have a roommate, let's call her Steph. She is not the richest and makes side remarks that she doesn't have enough money for food. One day, I took her to our local grocery store, and she waited until we were at the register to say she didn't have money to get food. I bought it for her since it wasn't much. Then I went again for a quick trip and asked if anyone wanted to go. She said she had to pick something up too. We were at the register when she said she didn't have enough. I said that it was fine and to not leave it at the self-checkout as we can go put it back. I felt bad, but I am not her mom. She doesn't work because she doesn't have a car, but we live on campus, which has job opportunities, as I used to work on campus before I had a car too. I talked to my other roommate, Mia, about the situation, and she said she took Steph to McDonald's at one point and said she could order whatever she wants as Mia would pay for it. Steph ended up ordering over $20 worth of food. That was the last time that happened. Now to the problem at hand. Steph is on probation and needs to go to the office for something, or else she goes back to jail. I offered to give her a ride. I couldn't go that week as I was getting ready to leave for a trip. I got Olive Garden and saved some for the next morning to eat before I go. The next day I checked the fridge and my Olive Garden was gone. Our third roommate left before I went to Olive Garden to visit family out of town, so she wasn't a part of it. And Mia was sick with COVID-19 and had her own separate area for her leftovers, as she didn't even like Olive Garden. I told Steph about this, and she tried to make me believe I ate it. I left for the weekend and came back to Steph, asking me again about taking her to her probation officer. I said that I feel I have no respect in this dorm, so until someone comes clean, I'm not doing anything for anyone. She tried to guilt trip me, but now I feel bad. Am I the asshole? I think you are not in the wrong here. You don't owe her rides just because she doesn't drive, and you do. She sounds like she's mooching off of all of you. If someone is stealing your food and not being honest, it's a serious issue that needs addressing. Just tell her, look, Steph, we need to be honest and respectful if we're going to live together, and then see what happens. Am I the jerk for choosing my mother-in-law over my mom? So I, a 23-year-old female, had a terrible relationship with my mom growing up. We fought constantly and I ran away several times. She was extremely narcissistic, and I knew that things were never going to get better while she still had me in her grasp, so I moved out at 15. I cut her off completely, blocked her on everything, and never looked back. At 20, I met my now husband, a 25-year-old male, and we hit it off immediately. He brought me home to meet his parents. I was concerned that they weren't going to like me, but I received nothing but love. His mom and I actually have a lot of interests in common, so I began talking to her more often, and soon we became very close. When we got married, she cheered the loudest out of everyone in the room and has always been my most enthusiastic support. Last August, I saw my mom at my niece's birthday party, and she was surprisingly nice to me. I talked to her a bit and the frost began to thaw, and it was like a huge weight off my chest. She ended up confessing to me how much she misses me and how she made a mistake. I believed she was being genuine, so I rekindled our relationship. We have spent a couple of days out with each other since then, but I haven't ever felt I could talk to her the way I can talk to my mother-in-law. Every time we disagree, I revert into a scared little kid, the one that ran away at 8 to her uncle's house. She hates my husband but is nice to him, and I have no clue why. He is the sweetest guy. When I got pregnant, my mother-in-law was very supportive, but my mom was not. She even went so far as to tell me that my baby would turn out ugly if I had him with my husband. She eventually seemed to come around, but those things really stuck with me. As we approach my due date, August 17th, I was making plans. I have an obsessive need to plan things in advance, in case something goes wrong and I need an exit. I told my mom that I wanted my mother-in-law to be in the room, but I didn't want her there because I'm going to be vulnerable, and I don't feel like we're there yet. She flipped out. She told me that I was making a big mistake because she gave birth to me and should be able to see me continue the cycle, and that she's trying so hard but I'm being cruel and manipulative by teasing her only to not let her in. My sister agrees with her and says that she's our mom, and it should be her right to witness the birth of her grandchild. Am I the asshole? Your feelings and experiences are valid, and this next step in life should focus on happiness and comfort. If someone brings toxic energy, there's no reason for them to be there during such a stressful time. Your mom's behavior shows she doesn't deserve to be present unless she's on the medical team. Surrounding yourself with supportive people is key, and this is a new cycle of your own creation. Am I the jerk for overreacting when my parents kept teasing me about my parenting? Am I the asshole for getting upset after my family kept teasing me about my parenting? My husband, our daughter, and I went on a vacation for the 4th of July with my side of the family. I love my family, but it can be hard to spend an extended period of time with them because they love to tease anyone about everything they can. That is the way I grew up, so I am not against a bit of teasing when everyone is having fun, but there is a line that they cross sometimes. My husband and I are first-time parents, so we are pretty protective of our child. We try to make sure she is not eating too much sugar or junk food, and that she gets what she needs to grow. We don't deprive her of these things, but we don't let her eat too much. In my eyes, she is still a baby, and I want her to have a good start in life. We were on a little excursion with my parents, sister, and some aunts and uncles. We all packed lunches for our own families, and I had packed chips in our lunch. When my daughter got hungry, she started nibbling on her sandwich and having a few chips. My parents packed a big bag of candy for everyone to share. I told them that our daughter was a bit too young for the candy in the bag and to not give her any. As I was eating, I looked back and saw a lollipop in her mouth that my mom had given her. I was not happy and I said as much. My dad brushed me off and proceeded to mock me, calling me strict. The rest of my family joined in and started to tease me about it. When she was done with the lollipop, she started eating again. A bit of time went by, and I said she had enough chips and she needed to finish her sandwich. My family said everything was fine and to look at how much fun she was having. My mom also said, I don't think I can keep them away from her. She's a baby, just take the bag away and keep it out of reach. My dad then said, you should see the things we give her when you are not around. When I gave him an excuse me look, he said, I'm kidding. At this point, my husband had enough and went to get our daughter. My parents gave him a weird look and said, is that really necessary? I stood up for him saying, when it comes to our daughter and what we think is right for her, yes it is. They proceeded to talk about us and throw weird looks our way. We had the option to leave the excursion or stay longer. My family wanted to stay, but my husband, our daughter, and I left to cool off. My family kept talking about how it was rude to just leave after we were gone and how we overreacted. I did raise my voice at them when they weren't listening to me. My husband also got a bit angry as well. My mom and dad are still acting weird and refuse to see any fault in themselves. Did I overreact? It's your kid, your rules, so you get to choose what she eats, but maybe you are being a bit overprotective in the way parents often are with their first child. It's a normal cultural dynamic for grandparents to spoil their grandkids a bit, and one lollipop won't harm her. Rather than teaching your daughter that eating any sugar is bad, it's probably better to teach that eating too much sugar is bad. Maybe they got lucky with you and your siblings, but their attitude seems a bit neglectful. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.